Hey there and welcome to Dark Blue Nutrition. My name is Katie. I'm a registered dietitian and personal trainer. And today we're going to talk about my top tips for sticking to your health and fitness goals during the holidays. So we all know the holidays can be a really difficult time to stick to our health and fitness goals. It can be tempting to just want to put off our health and fitness goals until the new year. But I promise you, no matter what month of the year it is right now, you can start new fitness goals, and you can also do it in a way that is not restrictive, not depriving you of the food that you love, and not depriving yourself of precious time spent with family and friends. So let's get into my top tips for sticking to those goals throughout the holidays and beyond. Tip number one is to write it out. In this day and age, there's a lot of different ways that you can write it out. Now, I highly suggest having a pen and paper just because I really think that it helps solidify in our brain when we write it out on pen and paper, but fear not if that's not your style, totally okay. You can get the Notes app in your phone out and you can write out your goals there as well. I have a separate folder to type out all my goals, so if I think of something or I think of like different ways to strategize on a certain goal, I can just write it out within my own personal goal folder in my Notes app. So you can totally do that, but my favorite way is the pen and paper method. Now, the best way that you can write out a goal is by making a SMART goal. Now, I have a separate video on this topic, but I will cover really briefly what a SMART goal means. A SMART goal means that it is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. Made those many times in college, so I finally got those down. But essentially, you want it to be something that is realistic to you, and you can also measure it when it's done. So working out more is an example of a not really measurable goal, but I want to do strength training 3 times a week and yoga twice a week is a specific goal. And you can even get more specific by naming the time or maybe the place that you'll do it. Like, I'm going to do yoga on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. That would be a weird time to do yoga, but I guess you could do both. But naming the time, the place, as much detail as you can get in, that's gonna be the easiest way to know whether or not you achieve those goals at the end of the week or the end of the month. I recommend doing a quick little check-in like every Sunday, but doing a more in-depth check-in on how your goals are going once a month. The second tip to sticking to your health and fitness goals over the holidays is to keep it simple to 1 or 2 goals. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but there is statistical proof that the more goals someone has at one time, the less likely they are to actually follow through and be successful with those goals. I learned that in the book Essentialism, is that if you have 10 different goals, you're gonna give 10% to each of those goals. Whereas if you had 1 goal or 2 goals, you could give 50 to 100% to those 2 goals at a time. So it just makes more sense to keep it simple and to focus on 1 or 2 things. So a lot of times I would stick to 1 nutrition goal and 1 fitness goal just so you can get your bases covered. But it's totally up to you. You can also do like a mindfulness goal and a nutrition goal, or a fitness goal and a mindfulness goal. The world is your oyster. I kind of mentioned this earlier with the SMART goal tip, but make sure it is realistic to what you're able to do during the holidays. So we all have our different chapters in life, and I would name holidays kind of a separate chapter of the year in and of themselves. We oftentimes have a lot of traveling, we have a lot of things to do, a lot of things on the agenda, and people to hang out with, and family to see, things to cook, etc., etc., etc. So make sure that you're not holding yourself to the exact same standard as you would normally throughout the year, because that might not be realistic. Now, if you really think that is totally okay and you can hold yourself realistically to the same standard you do throughout the year, fine, cool with me, whatever works for you. But if you know that the holidays are a particularly difficult time, then make sure to take that into account as well. Because if we set too high of goals, that can set us up for failure. We want our goal to be high enough that we're motivated and excited by it, but not so low that it's too easy and we're not really pushing ourselves. We want it to be kind of a healthy medium to where we feel good about it, it's realistic, and it's pushing us just a little bit. And my last tip is don't be too rigid with your routine. So if you are typically a CrossFit gal or guy, or someone that goes to the gym every day, don't feel like your exercise goal has to be exactly the same throughout the holidays. You could switch it up and instead of going to the gym, do a YouTube workout at home with your family or on your own. You could take a walk with your family. You could do yoga in the basement of your mother-in-law's house. Whatever works for you, just try to be flexible with your image and your idea of what a good exercise routine looks like. Because a lot of times we are way harder on ourselves than we really need to be. We can have different routines that are all healthy for us depending on what's going on in our life. So try not to stick to a rigid view of what a good exercise routine looks like and be flexible. I kind of talk about this in my intuitive fitness video. It was an Instagram live that I did a while back, but I talk a lot about intuitive fitness and kind of having a more intuitive approach to exercise, not always having to be super rigid about it. So let me know in the comment section below, what's your #1 tip for how you stay healthy and fit during the holidays? I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your tips, and I know the community of Dark Blue Nutrition would also love to hear from you as well. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and happy holidays. I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.